So welcome to the Data Explorer's Market Update with me, Will Duff Gordon. First things first, please have a look at our quarterly review. We've reviewed each country's stock lending market for beneficial owners, and I was driven like a slave to help produce this, and it is at dataexplorers.com/Q3-2010. Please take a look. So today I'm going to talk about Ireland and their sovereign debt issue. And now it could be easier to put a man on the moon than to get me to run you through lending and borrowing in sovereign debt in 3 minutes, but here goes. So if investors are genuinely nervous, and there's more to the headlines than, so it's not just about the headlines, there's actually real fears from professional investors, we may expect to see the amount of shares held in these Irish sovereign debt issues reducing as investors think to themselves, I want to sell my shares in Irish government debt, my Irish government bonds, because I'd rather buy German bonds, for instance, because I'm worried about an Irish default. Well, yes, we have seen that, I'm afraid to say, for the Irish. Yes, there was about 9 billion euros worth of Irish government bonds held by funds who lend, and that's come down to 6.9 billion quite recently. So negative sentiment there. On the other side of the coin, there is demand to borrow them as well. Now, people often borrow bonds for financing reasons, but we don't suspect that Irish government debt is being used as collateral very much at the moment. And there are 4 particular Irish government bonds where more than 200 million of them is being borrowed. So it could well be that people who are essentially selling credit default swaps, i.e. offering protection against an Irish debt default, are basically hedging and sort of borrowing these bonds to hedge themselves. So yes, our data does lead everyone to believe that there is actually some real there's a real trading view out there that Ireland is not so solvent and it could be due for a Greek bailout. Now, if we look at some of the equities, let's look at Allied Irish Bank. Well, if we look at the equities of AIB, Anglo-Irish Bank, etc., not a huge amount of action in their Irish listings. But what I did notice was AIB's, Allied Irish Bank's US listing, the ADR, has seen a trebling of borrow quite recently. And that's quite interesting because I wrote earlier in the year about how US investors are more pessimistic about the solvency of European banks and governments than people over here who are more emotionally connected to these companies. So the US guys clearly think there are big problems with AIB. Lastly, let's have a look at a bank in Portugal, BCP, Banco Comercial Portugues. How do you like that attempt at a Portuguese accent? Not very good. That is one of the hottest names to borrow right now, with most of the supply on loan, which is 6% of the demand. So there can be some issues in Portugal. Maybe we'll come on to Portugal a bit later. So I'm slightly out of breath having tried to do that. I hope that made some sense. It probably didn't. Read the report though. That should set you straight at dataexplorers.com/news.